In this lesson, I want to present a small challenge to you. The challenge is pretty simple. Take the spring and make it so that when our player jumps on the spring or bounces on the spring, remember they're not actually doing a jump, we hear a sound effect that sounds kind of like our jump, but much deeper. See if you can figure out the code and the setup process to do that. You shouldn't need to import any new files, but you're welcome to if you want to. And then come back when you're done and I'll show you the process on kind of my way to do it and see how well it lined up. Also, if you get caught, you have any problems, get stuck, or any questions, feel free to just press play and follow through. All right, let's dive into the solution. The first thing I want to do is select my spring. We want to add an audio source so it can play some sound effects when it's hit. And I'm going to do that by just choosing the add component and typing in audio source. Go choose audio source at the bottom, and then we've got to put in an audio clip here. So I'll hit the search box and go find my one audio clip that's in my game right now, the Jump 01. I'm going to uncheck play on awake because I don't want this to make a sound from the start, and I'm going to turn the pitch down to something like 0.5. Now I should be able to hear this thing sound super deep when I land on it. We haven't written the code to make that happen yet though, so let's open up the spring and do that. In the spring code, when we get a collision, we'll just get a hold of our audio listen or our audio source and tell it to play. So we can add in some braces here after line 19 and before 23. And then after we've set the sprite, we can get our audio source. So get component. See if I can spell get component audio source. And we'll tell it to play. This should do it. This should make our spring start playing whenever we jump on it and land on it if it's a player. Let's go see if that's the case. So we'll jump back into Unity. I want to make sure that I've saved my code and my scene, gotten rid of both of those little stars there. As soon as it finishes recompiling, and then press play. I should be able to bounce off that spring and then hear a nice deep boing or something similar to that. Let's go check it out. All right, we'll run over, jump, jump. Whoops, missed my jump. Let's do a bigger jump, jump. There we go. And I can, of course, modify this by turning the pitch down even more if I want. Go to I think I kind of like that better, 0.25. So I'm going to stop playing, change this to a 0.25. Save my scene, and then go back and make one other change because we've been caching a lot of components lately. We did it right up here. We cached the sprite renderer, but we didn't do it for this audio source. So let's cache our audio source as well. Even though we're only calling it on collision enter, I feel like it's a little bit cleaner to just cache this in awake since we're caching our sprite renderer too. So we'll take the get component call, select it all, hit Control X. Go right up above, right at the end of line 12 and hit enter and say underscore audio source using that camel case again. So source is capitalized equals and then paste and semicolon. Click on the audio source part here, hit alt enter, generate that field. Should give us a nice private field that we can double click the word private and delete. And then put the audio source by double clicking it, copying it and pasting it right before the dot play. So now we have the audio source, gets cached in awake and saved so we can just reuse it instead of having to tell the Unity system to give it to us every time we need it. We'll save, go back in, test it one more time, make sure that it works before we commit because we don't want to commit it if we accidentally had a typo or broke something. Any second now it should finish. And we'll play. Oh, I probably should add some more springs and start bouncing around between them. But for now, let's just play, jump up, and make sure that it sounds right. Jump, 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 jump. All right, so that looks good and sounds good. The last thing I want to do is just move this spring. I don't like the position of it, so I'll go to the scene view, select the spring. I'm going to drag it down here holding control. Let's get it to negative 4.5 and a negative, 3? Oh, no, whoops, I hit the wrong key there. Negative 3. Let's zoom in a little bit. I think it might be negative 3.5 that I want to go to. So I'll hold control and drag with the mouse right here. Remember, this is W to get into move mode. W here. E for rotation. W for move. And you can see this is pretty perfect here. So I've got a negative 4.5, negative 3.5, and then in my game it looks like it's nice and flat on the ground. So we'll save, we'll go into plastic and say added sound effects to the spring. And check in our changes.